Nah, but shit, I watched my fight over again. It was a beat performance. I honestly was just, I probably should have boxed a little bit more, but I didn't want to be boring, so I kind of picked up the pace and stepped to him. So, but I could have did more. There's always more to do. Shit, we right back in the gym. Ain't nothing else to talk about. Get stronger, get better, and when it's time, it's time. So, everybody that's talking and got so much to say, they gonna do this and they this and Shakur not this. Just stand on what y'all saying. Cause y'all know when it comes time, I'm gonna be ready. Ryan just be talking though, don't worry about him. Nobody pay him no mind. I mean shit. At the end of the day, he got a bunch of his Instagram followers, but he can't fight. So the real talent always prevails. Real talent always prevails, and whatever you do, if you're a rapper, you're gonna prevail just because you're better than, you feel me? If you're a good rapper, you're gonna be better than certain rappers that just getting by.
All right, y'all. So I'm just watching this video for the first time. Shakur Stevenson, he's speaking about Ryan Garcia. So I think he's on Instagram Live. He's driving in his car. Basically, he and Ryan had words. Look, I wish I had to watch this first. That's why most of the time I'd rather watch something first, but there's times I see something for the first time. So my reaction is the same as you guys. Like, when you see it for the first time, so do I. So I just react off what I'm hearing at that moment. It's really not much to hear. This video is 3 minutes and 26 seconds. It's at the 2-minute, 21-second mark. Okay. So, look. I don't care about the arguing. I don't care what he said about him, what the other one said about that one. And it's really just the type of thing where unless a fight is being made, then it's just soap opera nonsense back and forth. So pretty much somebody must have said something to Shakur in the comment section about Ryan Garcia saying something or whatever. So he was responding saying, don't worry about Ryan. He just be talking and he can't fight. So when Shakur Stevens starts the campaign at 135 and he starts fighting people there and they make, whatever fights available, so be it. Because what I really don't want to see and what I really don't care to be a part of at all is just making videos about who said what and there's no actual fight even trying to be made. So hopefully when he does get to 135, it's not the same situation that we have now where it's just back and forth arguing, but there's no fight. A lot of people will try to make simple conversation sound like it's something really big about to happen, and then nothing happens. So, that being said, let me speak on what I really want to talk about. Now that I've seen that it's, because I was about to make this a separate video. So, Keyshawn Davis, he's been going at it on Twitter with Devin Haney. All right. He's also been going back and forth with Romero. Now, I understand that with social media, you get to reach out to a lot more people to hear you. You can, touch a lot of people while you're still in one place. When you're trying to make fights happen, you're trying to get attention to yourself. That all comes into play with that, and I get it. But certain things just don't even need to be said at certain points, especially when you're not ready. But if you tell yourself you're ready and you want something, you got to look at what you're saying. Is it realistic? Like example, for basically and let me before I say that, a lot of these channels use clickbait titles. We know that. Keyshawn Johnson only had Keyshawn Davis only has 6 fights. He has no business fighting Devin Haney at this stage in his career just to lose, and then he wasn't ready. So Haney fired back at him and pretty much wasn't taking him serious, was laughing at him. And I'm not going through all the putting up the tweets and all of that. There's nothing happening. There's just talking. Now, however, he was going back and forth with Rolly Romero. And it was just a lot of threats and you this, you that, you soft, I did this to you, I'll do this to you again, and out in the streets. And I'm just like, all right, nothing really to talk about. Now, in terms of them fighting, I'll tell you something that Rolly Romero is doing. Okay, and like I said, when you have sheep, it worked with those sheep. Rolly Romero, if you listen to him talk, he's always talking about him and Ryan are going to fight at 147. He's always talking about, him, Ryan, and Tiafimo, beating Tank and beating Devin and all. He's always putting himself in that category with them. He just got beat by Tank Davis, and he make it sound like he won the fight. So in the tweet that he had sent out to Keyshawn Davis, he was saying that he's not ducking him because Keyshawn Davis is trying to get that fight. He says, I'm trying to get a rematch with Tank Davis because I won every round of that fight and he caught me with a lucky punch. See, this is where I lose respect for fighters. If it would have been, even if it would have been a lucky punch, well, it landed, right? But let's look at the reality. Tank Davis didn't close his eyes and just throw a punch and it landed, and no, it's no lucky shot. He was looking right at Rolly. Rolly threw some bullshit. He came on top of that, slid over, bam, caught him. He went down. Got up with the giraffe legs, okay, with the baby giraffe legs. And pretty much, he was hurt. He had to hold on to his dad after he came down the stairs and was walking back. You could see his legs wasn't there. And to say he got caught with the lucky punch, well, look, let's just say, for example, if Tank would have been saying, I won every round, and he caught Tank and knocked him out, do you think that Rolly would say, well, I caught him with a lucky punch? Nah, he would tell you, I timed that shot, and bottom line, we know what we saw. But yet he's trying to put himself amongst the elite like he's done something. The only credible name that he has on his resume, the only one, is Tank Davis. Because of his size to Tank, and Rolly is strong, he can punch, but Tank is smart. His confidence in him that he felt like he can beat Tank is simply because he's bigger, naturally the much bigger guy. I don't have to say if Tank was bigger, because if Tank was like his size, he'd have destroyed him quicker. He probably have knocked him out in 1 or 2 rounds. You understand? So him being smart, him having a shorter reach, much shorter in height, he called him a dwarf and all this stuff and just talking, but he got knocked out by a dwarf. And he did exactly what Tank was going to do. Even if he start off trying to box and show something different, he's going to eventually get to the point where his ego is going to make him think that I'm scared, I'm running. He's going to start swinging nothing but hard shots like that's all he does anyway. And pretty much that's exactly what Rolly started doing. Now, he did better in the fight than people expected him to do. I felt like because of Tank's small size, he might give Tank some trouble in terms of it might be competitive until Tank started really just putting it on him, and pretty much it didn't come to him having to start putting it on him. It really one shot. He's calling it luck though. That's a sore loser. That's someone who basically is full of excuses. And anytime you hear a fighter say, "Oh, I'm sure I can beat him in a rematch," that just means you failed the first time, and you said all the same thing with the same type of conviction before you got beat. You don't want to fight Issac Pitbull Cruz. and you don't want to fight Keyshawn Davis. But to be honest with you, even though he has more fights than Keyshawn Davis, he hasn't accomplished more. The biggest accomplishment was you got in there with an elite guy and you got knocked out with one punch. So to even try to put yourself amongst the elite, no, you have some work to do. So my thing with Raleigh is, well, who do you think that you should be in the ring with? Because he seemed to think that he's talked his way into an elite status. So for him to even, and mind you, when he says him fighting Ryan is going to happen at 147, okay, he's fighting at 135. You know, Ryan claims he's going to 140, but yet, you know, he's still ranked at 135. So you don't want to fight Pitbull. You're not trying to fight Ryan. You're not trying to fight Teofimo. You're trying to align yourself. Like you three are the fucking Beastie Boys or something. So I'm sitting here like, well, who do you want to fight? Other than trying to get a rematch with somebody that you just ain't good enough to beat in the first place, because he'll find a way to knock you out again more than likely. But at the end of the day, regardless, who do you want to fight? So you're talking like you're levels above Pitbull and Keyshawn and all these other people, but who is it that you want to fight? Because every time, and remember, it came out of his mouth that being a champion don't mean nothing no more. All you gotta do nowadays, boxing is about how many, you know, YouTube followers and Instagram followers and Facebook and all that. And if you notice, every time you see Raleigh, he's trying to go into entertainment mode. And you just been trying to chase Tank in conversation of, you know, trying to convince everybody that it was a lucky punch. I can't even take him serious. So my thing is, if you really about that smoke, like what do you think is happening for your legacy? This is something fighters don't really care about. You can just see it. It's not even about legacy with them. They pick and choose who they want to fight. They try to say certain guys are not on their level, and they wind up fighting lesser guys and want to brag about how they looked and how they knocked the guy out and try to say that some C-class fighter is better than the A-class fighters that they're ducking. Now, if you truly, really feel that you're better than Pitbull Cruz, you're better than Keyshawn Davis, show everybody. Fight them and beat them. You're certainly not in the driver's seat to be trying to make big decisions of you getting top opposition. You haven't earned anything. You never even rematched, Jackson Marinas. You never even rematched him after you sat and told the whole public that you would, because everybody thought you lost that fight. Everybody thought you lost that fight, including you. So the same way, you sitting there talking about you won every round against Tank. It's funny because people told you to your face. You sat at the press conference with your face all balled up, looking angry because everybody was telling you lost. You fucking, I'll fight him again. You never did. And what have you done since that? Nothing. C-class fighters, you beat a C-class fighter, and then you all of a sudden you trick everybody into thinking that you were a better fighter than Tank somehow. When I hear see comments and hear people say, I like Raleigh because he's entertaining, he's funny. Yeah, okay. So this is how we rate fighters now. Nah, he's not as good as him. He don't have his sense of humor. Fuck the skill set. He don't have his sense of humor. He's better. There's nothing impressive about Raleigh's resume. Yeah, the kid can punch. He's a decent fighter. He has heart when he's in there. Okay, he does try to come and try to bring the fight to you. But when you want to call fighters names and then try to make fun of them, or you're knocking them and telling the world what you do with them, then I guess the younger you are, you seem to think that you have forever. And before you know it, you're 28, you're 29, and you still haven't done shit. Except had one world title fight that you lost. And since then, nothing. Just a bunch of wins against some subpar opponents. That, to me, even, if you think that you can beat these guys, then fight them. If you can look at Keyshawn Johnson and say, oh, you only got 6 fights. Well, you had one title fight that you basically pretty much was gifted because you have done nothing to even fight Tank Davis. You lost. So how does that make you a superstar? How does that put you in a driver's seat to be able to even say you want a Devin Haney or you want a Ryan Garcia, or even though Ryan hasn't done much of shit either. He had the one step up fight with Luke Campbell, and then people living in Javier Fortuna's past of what Javier could do. And I feel like even at Javier's best, he wouldn't have beat Ryan. You know what I'm saying? And so every fight is not the same. He doesn't have what Tank has. So when people, but they're about the same side, that don't mean nothing. They're two different people. That means nothing. Okay. So just wanted to get this video out, man. I'm just watching things, and it's just like, man, like I said before, boxing fucking sucks right now, man. It's just too much of nothing happening, and too much is more talking than action. It's people trying to be unreasonable, people trying to make things look like it's something when it's not, all types of goofy shit where I really don't get a kick out of it. So, yeah. I feel like Raleigh needs to fight someone like Pitbull Cruz. He needs to fight someone like Keyshawn Davis, honestly. Prove yourself. We don't want to hear you talk about what you can do. We don't care about what you're saying. It's what you do, and that's for any fighter. It's what you do. Talk to me in the comment section. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch you in the next video.